So maybe it's time to do a recap of what's happened with ICE. And like most people, I do not know what ICE stands for. It's probably the International Coventry Expedition, the Igloo Crate Exhibitionists. No, it's not funny. Anyway, ICE, the Department of Homeland Security, I believe. Well known for their detention centers, especially the children's ones in Texas, where there have been street standoffs in the great state of Minnesota, and where we've seen great leadership from Ilhan Omar, even though she's been relatively quiet since the assault she was able to lay down on that man who squirted some type of brown liquid on her. We saw a major retreat from the federal government today under the leadership of Tom Homan. Again, Tom Homan, confirmed by the press, acting under the orders of President Trump. They are officially withdrawing ICE from Minnesota. There's clearly going to be packets left over, Homan style, but we're going to have to see if Bovino can make a play back into the game. Bovino kind of went California on us. I believe Kristi Noem indicated that he was removed from his position, and it's unclear if he is still in a position of power. Positions of power are very interesting. What is a position of power? Is it a simple tweet by the secretary indicating that you're out? Is it a round of applause from the president indicating that you did a good job? Or is it something that you actually feel inside yourself? I think it's an interesting time for leadership right now, especially having a, probably about a one-day, somewhat 1 or 2% sell-off of the NASDAQ, Dow Jones, and S&P. Maybe a 1.75 sell-off for the accountants out there. And I've been getting into the accounting game recently, maybe 40-second spats of it, but it's very interesting to put numbers on an Excel spreadsheet and to look at the different types of formulas that you can create to show green or red. And that's essentially what we see with these market conditions on a lot of trading platforms. You wonder if it's just a big game or if there is merit to studying the contracts that are offered, the loan securities that are offered, the futures that are offered. Is there a way that you could hit the print to somehow make a larger claim for the transactions that you were purchasing? And that segue brings us back to ICE, where in all reality, I think it has been a horrific show of force by the federal government. Probably the most harrowing stories were the Latina woman that was dragged forcefully from her car, reported to have disabilities, and the young man, the young boy who was about 5 years old that was brought to a detention center in Texas. Both individuals have seemed to survive, but there have also been two deceased, Renee Good, and I forget the other gentleman's name, Alex Preddy, I believe, who was shot like a dog in the streets. To be honest, I think Preddy probably would have shot down a few ICE officers if he had the chance. It's probably something I would have done if I was in that situation, hypothetically. But the show of force by our ICE officers has been very pathetic, as been seen in a transaction in Maine where, and this was brought to us by, to give credit to Morning Joe, and I believe it's Mikola, who showed essentially it was a woman going, "I'm putting you on camera, get out of my state," and an officer going, "Do you want to end up on a domestic terrorist list? Do you want to end up on a domestic terrorist list? Do you want to end up on a domestic terrorist list? Do you want to end up on a domestic terrorist list?" And just hearing that, it's almost laughable. That's what our state's come to now. And I realized I'm breathing pretty heavily into the microphone, so I apologize for that. We have whatever the FBI director's name is, who's coming in and usurping state control on technology platforms, who's building into algorithms Palantir-type drawdowns to keep people safe and secure. And all I say is when the next person decides to climb up the clock tower, are they going to be proud of themselves? Are they going to say this was one that just got away from us? Because if you look up and you see the drones in the sky, does anybody ask why? Do they just keep going to their job saying, "I'm happy I'm making $150 a year. I'm happy that I get to pay $15,000 a year in health insurance, and I'm happy that I get 3 to 4 weeks vacation. I'm honestly asking if people see that as worth living. I used to drive in my car to jobs like that, wanting to jump out the window. And then I'd get and work my 12, 16-hour shift and then come back listening to someone talk, also wanting to jump out my window. If there's anyone out there doing that, please let me know so we could talk. Because I don't understand why people work these stupid jobs. Literally, if you wanted to make a technology company for cafeteria food, you could go to probably Stripe.com or Apple.com, put in your data as the customer and the user to indicate what you would like, and then Apple would provide to you what they think you would like, and then you could provide to Apple what you think they would think, what you think they would like, and then Apple could provide back to you what they think you would think, what they think what you would think that you'd like. And then you have this beautiful cafeteria app where students can touch a screen and pick what meal they're going to have right before they go to class. They can pick who they're going to sit next to, and it can all be done in the safe zone of the classrooms where the teacher's looking at the students that are picking tables in the cafeteria and who's going to get what type of food. All fun and games, all fun and games. What do you do about the hardcore hose, as Dynamis, Don Imus, the Dynamis, Mr. Dynamis himself, hardcore hose on the basketball court. Look at them, hardcore hose, motherfucker. Look at them, nappy-headed hose, baby. It's not funny. But what do we do about like these cartel, hey man, SA chill, motherfucker? Are they even in existence anymore? Was it all just a 1990s or early 2000s trope that we got tricked into? Are there any tough Mexican men left? Any guys that are willing to get an Uzi and a Corona and go down the street? And by an Uzi, I mean a taco with cream cheese, pico de gallo, and a little bit of sour cream. And also some of that Mexican store blend from Acme. And that gets us to the great President Trump. Been relatively quiet these past few weeks. Wonder if he's suffering from that pick in the hand still, which might have been a slap to our fine. Speaking of the Department of Justice, what the hell was up with that hearing with Pam Bondi? She looked like she was going to cry. What is she standing up for? Why does she have to stand up for President Trump? Does she not have any integrity? I honestly don't understand what's going on. It's like with the Epstein files, we kind of get it. It's like there are, powerful people that are awakened that unfortunately are attracted to children and engage in pedophilia. But she seems to understand that too, so I don't understand why she's saying we're going to put these people away. It's like, aren't you ahead of the DOJ? Can't you just walk out and just start naming names? Or is it truly redacted and you don't know? Is there some type of leverage to play? Like, just go do a speech right now, wherever you want on your phone, and say, this guy's in it. And then we get to Howard Lutnick, who was set up to take the fall, Mr. Secretary of Commerce, I believe. Lutnick is a class character, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Lutnick comes in, right? And you could just tell in 30 seconds that this guy, I've already said it though, but this guy was sick of Epstein's antics. He was getting sick of Epstein's antics. And what is he supposed to do? He's a working man, working the banks, working the steel mills, working the Navy ships, and Mr. Epstein has to come in with his ridiculous antics. What do you expect Lutnick to do? Did you want him to get a shotgun and shoot him down in his apartment, Brownstone style? Did you want him to sneak into Epstein's house and install his own cameras so that he could say, hey, FBI, look at the evidence on my servers and don't put me in jail? Was Lutnick just the third wheel that went to the bar with Epstein and Trump? Epstein would be like, look at my list of 10 and 12-year-olds. And Trump would say, we're doing 14 and 15-year-olds today. And Lutnick would go, God damn it, guys, I'm just trying to sell a goddamn bond. I'm just trying to get a 4 to 6% yield. And they would go 4 to 6-year-olds. He'd go, no. A 4 to 6% yield, meaning you get 4 to 6% interest on the bond. And Jeff would write down, okay, 4 to 6. And Lutnick would go, guys, I'm just talking about interest. And Jeff would write down, okay, Lutnick is interested in 4 to 6. And then just like that, you have an Epstein file on Lutnick. That brings us to the scared Pam Bondi. What is she going to do? If she goes down there and it says Howard Lutnick, 4 to 6 year, are they going to say he was with 4 to 6-year-olds, or are they going to understand he was just trying to sell a 4 to 6-year-old bond in the marketplace, guys? Do I have to name the companies that have these bonds? Jeez. And then that brings us to Secretary Noem. Some weird Segruian Peterson type prophet indicated that the United States was going to put women into positions of power so that they could serve bondage on the men. And I think that person was wrong. Clearly because Secretary Noem is doing some type of secret steal deal. And would that create a situation of temptation for those trying to purchase the steel? Interesting. Is that a dominatrix type situation? And dominatrix is simply a milling machine that is used by contractors to essentially drill square type holes into the pegs of ships. That's all it is. Nothing adult related here. This is Turning Point USA cleared. Turning Point USA cleared, baby. What does that mean? That means we're selling shirts with families on it now. And then they got to call up Lutnick and go, hey, we want to get a 4 to 6 on this. And he goes, hold on a second. I'm running a major institution here. I'm the Secretary of Commerce. I can't have you guys bringing up 4 to 6. And then as you say it out loud, you go, wait a second. We could be getting a 7 to 10% yield, baby, on the junk bonds, Howard Marks style. Marks would go, guys. You got to look at the shipping industry. Do we have any of those Trinidadian routes coming in? And then we got starships overhead. Oh, man. 7% yield, though. That's not bad. I remember when Kramer called a 4% yield and went, that's nice, baby. And essentially, I bought treasury bills. Yeah, 4% yield's not bad. $10,000 down, you get $400, I believe. Sometimes my brain will jump and I'll think 4,000, but $400 on a 4% yield on 10,000 down. It prints, baby. Where are we down to today? I think the yield's down to 4.1. So it still is tempting. If you are a long-term investor, a 4% yield is still definitely tempting, especially with tech decimating right now. And the big giveaway right now for tech is they'd say, listen to this lunatic's content. He's saying 4 to 6% yield. Is he talking about 4 to 6-year-olds? Do we got him? Can we put him on a domestic terrorist list now? Is it game over? And that's the name of the game, baby. And then unfortunately people will want to go to Sweden or the Netherlands or some places in France or Germany and try to hide away. But we got the rubles coming, baby. We got 1 to 2 million dead in the Slavic regions. And they're going to say, oh, he escalated the war. He started it. I think I broke my chair. I'm going to have to pause.